Hello and welcome back to NoBS. Today we return to talking about one of the most popular TV shows out right now, a very big addition to the Star Wars franchise. I'm of course talking about The Mandalorian. Mandalorian is a show that came out last year, and this year it just started its second season, and it's already had a number of little stories and controversies. We talked about it previously when there was a little issue with one of the characters eating some eggs that was claimed to be sort of some kind of genocide in the show, even though it's a fiction, and people tried to act all triggered. It was this whole big thing, and there's been a lot of other stories circling around about this show. They've had some actors taking different political stances, namely the main actor who plays Mandalorian is super woke, super liberal. There's another side character actor who is actually a little more red-pilled, a little more honest and accurate with their portrayals of reality, and she gets a lot of backlash for that. There's other people that give the guy praise, and he acted like he was going to leave the show. Other kinds of controversies. Essentially, it's a Star Wars show that's owned by Disney. Disney and Disney Plus air the show. That's why it's got a lot of heat. It's also very popular. It is well done. It is interesting and cool to watch. So it's got that going for it too, which means a lot of SJWs are going to come after it because it's popular. It's part of Star Wars, which has been wokenized for many years now, like the Star Wars Last Jedi movie, the new movie, all kinds of stuff has been woke, throwing in these Mary Sue characters, feminist characters, pink-haired feminists, other kinds of things like that, alphabet relationships, you name it, and Star Wars has dabbled in it and tried to ruin things lately, but we still have a good show of The Mandalorian, but it has come under attack for a pretty funny new reason. And before we get to the specifics, essentially, you're not going to believe it when I say it like this, but essentially, people are angry about armor that characters are wearing. Certain female characters are wearing armor that some are saying is offensive or sexist or whatever it may be. They're very upset about this. It's coming from a typical feminist reactionary named Anita Sarkeesian, who doesn't seem to understand how body armor or fiction or fake stories about space soldiers are supposed to be like. So we're going to talk about the details, get to more soon, but first, let's take a quick moment to check out our sponsor. Unfortunately, tragic deaths in certain parts of the country like Los Angeles have increased by 20% in 2020. It's getting a little bit dangerous out there, to say the least, and I know I personally am not taking any chances. That's why I have the Fighter Flare flashlight. The Fighter Flare flashlight is the only tactical flashlight I trust with me and my family's livelihoods. It's the perfect mix of a personal protection tool and a survival tool all put into one. Plus, it's also solar powered, so you never have to worry about wires or batteries ever again. A good tactical flashlight is also powerful enough to have enough brightness to blind an attacker, durable enough to handle getting dropped, thrown, or smashed, and it's reliable enough to never stop working even in the harshest environments. The Fighter Flare flashlight comes with all this and more, so check out my link and get the Fighter Flare flashlight today at www.fighterflare.com or click the link below this video in the description. You'll get an additional discount in celebration of Black Friday by entering my promo code NoBS30. So check it out and get your Fighter Flare flashlight today while supplies last, and thanks for your time. Now, back to the show. Great, now that that's out of the way, let's start with this tweet from Anita. Anita Sarkeesian is, of course, a huge feminist. She runs Feminist Frequency, which is this sort of pyramid scheme, kind of charity website that she promises videos but never delivers them. And here is her take on the new Star Wars. It says, Lady Mandalorians have boob armor? Oh, come on, seriously. And right out the gate, I mean, you don't need much more detail than that. We're going to go into it extensively and talk about some different takes on this, but essentially it's like, I don't know what she expects. Girls have this part of their body that sticks out on the front, so if they're going to wear armor, it has to kind of curve to that. I mean, that's just how soldiers work. I mean, this is also, remember, we're talking about a fictional universe, a universe that's set in outer space in a galaxy far, far away. I mean, this is not something to be taken too literally or realistically, but even if we do, if we assume these characters are human-like, which they appear to be, they have a head, shoulders, arms, legs, all that stuff, and the females tend to have this larger chest, and that would necessitate armor that would fit them. I mean, it would be the same thing if they gave them armor. For example, if their arms were longer or something, they would need longer arm armor, or their helmet could need to be a smaller size because their head's smaller, or they're shorter, or whatever it may be. Whatever their body type, the armor has to be built for them, customized at least a little bit, at least somewhere close to the range of their body size. And this is just part of that. I don't know why it would upset people, I could guess, and we can theorize why someone like Anita would get upset about this. First of all, she's been known to just go after anything popular, anything that is trending in the news, any show or movie that people really like. Those become targets. Then they try to turn anything they see into sexism or racism. I mean, Anita Sarkeesian is literally the person who says you see sexism and racism everywhere and you got to call it out. And it just basically is them wanting it to be truth, seeing everything through that SJW lens, which causes silly kinds of statements like this to turn into little mini controversies, because she got backlash for this comment. Anita Sarkeesian got backlash, as she should. I mean, it's a pretty dumb thing to say, and it shows how bad she is as an SJW. She's just looking for something to complain about, and it also shows she doesn't know what she's talking about. I can actually scroll down, and here Undoomed linked an article talking about body armor and how female body armor helps protect women in combat. And this is them getting a specialized kind of armor. It's just a little different than the dudes. They have a thing on their chest that needs extra room. Squishing it with flat armor is going to hurt them and potentially even injure them. So I don't see the problem. The only thing I see, and you could guess and kind of theorize, is that Anita sees this as sexualizing the characters, making them look overly feminized. And that's something she's done and have complained about in video games a lot. She focused a lot on video games in her video series, and she just said, oh, the girl characters were too pretty, too sexualized, too much cleavage and things like that. And there are cases of that. I mean, there are times where games have really hot chicks in them, and that's to kind of give something for the guys to look at. Guys are the ones who typically play these games. Nothing wrong with that either. People have had hot chicks in things for generations. They've been parts of movies, photography, ads, things like. It's actually an honor to them. It's not like trying to make them into objects or something, which is what Anita would say. Anita would say this is sexualizing them and it's unnecessary, when really it's totally reasonable. It helps to go along with them. And this isn't super sexualized. It's just a little bump on the chest. It is not like they're being overly done in this case. It definitely can happen in some cases. I don't know how far this episode goes, but in this picture and what we're seeing, I don't see a problem. So here's a little article about it. It says, The Mandalorian boob armor controversy explains sexism versus practicality. One thing Star Wars fans love to do other than watch or read Star Wars stories is argue. Unfortunately, since the days when the Ewoks first waddled their way onto the galactic stage, this comes with some toxicity. Toxic fandom is a real problem these days, amplified by social media, and it poisons real discussions about stories and their impacts culturally. Thus, with the appearance of Bo-Katan cries in The Mandalorian Chapter 11, the fandom got mired in controversy over boob armor. First, we'd be irresponsible to suggest that this was some massive argument or serious issue. It seems like it was a casual observation made on social media that just flew out of control. A respected cultural critic seemingly kicked things off by lamenting the fact that Bo-Katan's armor was designed like it was. Some women who replied to this comment disputed this reaction, saying that the design seemed more practical than sexist. Sadly, a significant number of replies came from anonymous sock puppet accounts who saw an opportunity to be cruel on social media. Still, the question at the core of this debate is one worth examining. In asking if a particular fictional representation is sexist, critics are able to point out things most casual audiences don't even realize. One only need to look at the reactions to any story about Rose Tico to know that fans of the story which gave us Princess Leia are not immune to sexism. So this is clearly an article trying to favor Anita. They called her a respected cultural critic, which is just beyond ridiculous. This person is not respected. She is a total joke. She steals money from her Patreon. She doesn't even give her viewers actual content that she promises. She's just a scam artist. She's just a total fraud, and she just complains about things like boob armor, and it's just totally ridiculous. She's trying to stay relevant by talking about something popular. The other thing I'll note is, yeah, this article is super biased, super left-leaning and supporting of Anita, and it talks about this toxic fandom stuff that is just something like I don't really get. I know that that is possible. There surely are some crazy fanboys and some people out there that might be trolling or something like that, but the way I really see it is this is an excuse. This is them going after the fans. They call them toxic, just like how they call men toxic masculinity, and they say we're toxic and we're the evil ones here, when really we're the ones watching Star Wars, supporting it. This is actually just a diss on the fans. Typically the people that are upset or disagreeing with Anita here, I wouldn't even say upset, we're just disagreeing and saying this is dumb, this is not what you should be talking about, this is not an issue, this is not sexism or anything like that. And that's really what's going on. And what their reaction is, they call men all toxic. They say we're sexist. They say we disagree with Anita because she's a woman and we hate women or something like that. They're just deflecting because their arguments are bad. And this article is trying to go along with that, saying there's more sexism in Star Wars, talking about how Princess Leia was this attractive character who had this sexy outfit in Return of the Jedi. Nothing wrong with that there. But according to this kind of article and this kind of worldview, they see this as a bad thing. They're defending Anita, which is just telling us everything we need to know. So lastly, let's check this article. Here you can see some of these characters with the helmets off. It says Anita Sarkeesian plays the victim after receiving pushback from women against disingenuous complaint of boob armor in The Mandalorian. So she did get a pushback. She did get a reaction that she should. She probably thought that was sexist men that hate women, but truthfully, it's just people disagree with her because she's wrong and she says bad things. Anita Sarkeesian has once again sparked a wave of discourse after the notorious feminist media critic cried foul and played the victim after receiving pushback against a complaint she made against boob armor in The Mandalorian. While this latest season of Mandalorian has thus far shown numerous moments worthy of fan excitement, such as Din Djarin's straight out of the Knights of the Old Republic crate dragon hunt or Baby Yoda's potentially genocidal eating habits, few events in the second season have enjoyed as big a fan reaction as the return of fan favorite Mandalorian Bo-Katan Kryze. Making her first appearance since the Star Wars Rebels episode of Heroes of Mandalore, Bo-Katan appeared alongside newly introduced Mandalorians Koska Reeves and Axe Woves, clad in their unique Mandalorian armors and offering Din Djarin information on the Jedi in exchange for his assistance in raiding an Imperial vessel. So we're in the episode, we're talking about the details. Here's Anita complaining again, boob armor, oh come on, seriously. And then we got the reaction. It says, looking at the three, seeing as how he has similar plating that's flat on his chest, it's telling that this chest armor is just made to contour their chest, more so than made for sexual intent, as the women here have protruding chests versus the man there. So this is just a guy explaining it. This is Undoomed again. That was the tweet and post. This is someone reacting to that. And it's just going on from there. It's not the first time this has happened. This is just fitting for a person's body. This is a female body versus a male body. Kind of like almost playing into the idea that those don't exist. But that about wraps things up. I think you guys get the point. Anita Sarkeesian making another dumb comment. People responding, some of them favorably. This article is getting it right while the last one wasn't. So tell me what you think about all this. Comment your thoughts below. Subscribe if you're new and hit the bell for notifications too. Until next time, have a great day.